Alright, welcome ladies and gentlemen. The first feature-length reviews for Fantastic Four First Steps are in. Rotten Tomatoes score has been released. I know. Loads of people go, why are you talking about Rotten Tomatoes? It's just an aggregator. Just an aggregator. That's all. That's all. We're going to take a look at the feature-length reviews though. See whether Marvel is back on top or not. I wonder. Can you guess what it'll be? The best thing since Endgame or something crap like that. Hit subscribe if you're new here, guys. Turn the bell notifications on. Let's go! Anyway. So the Fantastic Four First Steps. These are feature-length reviews. We did some of the social media reactions. But this is the full-length reviews. And they're not bad, you know. So Deadline. So they say positive, basically, largely. And they say that First Steps is admirably light on po-faced superhero gravitas and rich in satisfying action movie spectacle. Notably, when Galactus shows up in New York. So, less sort of like superhero stuff. But, well, I mean, kind of, it is still superhero stuff. But they're sort of like grounding it by the sound. So, Variety, they say that Marvel Studios finally does right by the popular quartet, scaling back from the overcrowded feel of recent offerings, whilst delivering its most gargantuan threat yet in the all-consuming villain Galactus. Sorry, how is Galactus... What? I guess gargantuan in size. Maybe. I was going to say Thanos was a pretty big threat, but okay. Positive. It's all very positive, basically. Hollywood Reporter... they said that it's a pleasing back-to-basics feel in the Fantastic Four First Steps. Suggests Marvel has learned valuable lessons from its recent box office underperformers. So, yeah, positive. I hope they've learned. I remember when Marvel was good. Marvel was good at one point, right? They were good. Original Iron Man was fantastic. They were good, right? They weren't always crap. So, I'd like it to be good. More good movies is good movies, right? I want good movies. It's better for everyone. Better for the industry. It's better for studios. They'll take more risks. It's good. So the Hollywood Reporter explains... Oh, I've already covered that one. Sorry. The Wrap says, in capturing the vibe of the Silver Age, if not its actual spirit, Matt Shakman has done something Marvel Studios doesn't do very well anymore. He's made a superhero movie that embraces the super part and the hero part and the movie part. Okay. Empire. They said, with an exemplary cast and shiny new alt universes to enjoy, this is the best Fantastic Four yet. It's not really saying much, but okay. And if that bar's too low for you, then it's also the best Marvel movie in years. Again, that's not really high praise, but okay. Total Film. They said the Fantastic Four First Steps begins as a thrilling adventure moored by Pedro Pascal's Reed Richards and Vanessa Kirby's terrific Sue Storm, but soon stumbles into familiar comic book movie trappings. So, a bit paint by numbers. Entertainment Weekly. They compared it to Superman. So they said, much like the other biggest superhero movie of the summer, Superman, the Fantastic Four First Steps isn't interested in apologising for or trying to hide its source material. Instead, it throws audiences into its pop candy world, exploding with colour, goofy adversaries, and throwback costumes. Which is, I mean, that's good, right? Like, it is the Fantastic Four, so it should be the Fantastic Four. Slash Film, they said very similar things. We're all, basically a similar sense of satisfaction, hailing the reboot as taking place in a world we're already better, and they loved it. So Awards Buzz, some rando says that Fantastic Four First Steps is extremely inviting, that they'll be back for more, is extremely a wonderful bonus. This film is a success all on its own. IGN, they said the Fantastic Four First Steps is a family dramedy that only stops working when it tries to be too much of a superhero movie. Interesting. And Comic Book Movie said the Fantastic Four is an exceptional introduction to the MCU's first family, and thanks to a Jack Kirby-infused feel that's unlike anything we've seen before, it proves to be a quintessential superhero movie with Marvel Studios at its brilliant best. But let's take a look at Rotten Tomatoes, which is very positive. 87% with 94 reviews. All critics, so we can't look at anything else. We'll look at some of the negative ones, because they've all been positive, right? Let's be fair. So, Fantastic Bore, Jim Shembry said. New York Post said, first steps marks a slight improvement from the preceding trilogy of terror, but Marvel still can't nail what should be one of its premier attractions. Presumably they mean Fantastic Four. Fantastic Four, I think, fundamentally won't work anymore simply because, you know, it relied on all of the others. It relied on every single superhero having unique abilities that then come together to fight a threat. But when you have other superheroes that can do all of those things, it kind of becomes a bit goofy. And that's why it was the Silver Age. Now, I'm not saying they're bad and they can't work, but stretching abilities are goofy as hell. They just are. And being invisible and bending light and stuff, it is all kind of a bit goofy. Right? So, I mean, it makes sense that Marvel is struggling to do them justice at the moment, because I think maybe they're not necessarily for this world at the moment. You know, the world has moved on. Superheroes as a concept have moved on. Irish Independent says, there are no real character traits, no personalities, and no obvious chemistry or spark between our key players. Now, that's an interesting one. I'm purposely looking at negative ones. I've covered the positive ones. That's an interesting one because Matt Shackman did come out and say, I never screen test anyone. Like, I just offered them parts. Right. That's worrying. And this seems to go some way to sort of explain that a little bit. I don't know. Marvel has been bland before, but rarely this lethargic, and indeed uninterested in its own cartoon mythology. Not good. That's real bad. Let's just load them all so we can kind of scroll through them, hey? So this was, we'll just scroll back up. So Screen Rant says, this Marvel outing commits the cardinal sin of being not only predictable, but even worse, boring. Yeah, that's real bad. Another one here. It feels less like a victory than it does a total surrender. You have to walk before you can run, but at this point the MCU is back to crawling on its knees. And at this point it seems like it might be too afraid to ever stand back up again. So it's not all praise, guys. It's not all praise. We've got to cover the negative ones. While Superman felt bracingly modern with the political sentiments, the Fantastic Four has a halo of cobwebs it can't quite shake off. Not great. What they've created is a toy box, a diorama that marries design styles and technology, but that never feels like a place where actual people live. So that's just the aesthetic by the sounds of it. Not great. It wants to be a turning point, maybe even a rebirth. Instead, it's another cog in the Marvel machine, albeit a handsome one, running on nostalgia fumes and the hope that better than Fant 4-stick is still enough. So there you go. I think we've covered enough here. What do you guys think? Are you keen on this? Are you not? Do you care? Love to hear your thoughts. Are you excited for this? Leave your thoughts down below. Take care. Bye now.